Good afternoon, folks. Uh, Today is the day to talk about something interesting. I am calling it spatial design and human aura. And this has actually not a very popular topic amongst architects and practitioners and in the portals of architecture, not very popular. I was introduced to the science of human settlements by Dr. Ramana Reddy, the then chief town planner of Andhra Pradesh, in my first year of architecture. That time I learnt it but never paid much attention to it, and after many years, or a couple of decades, after returning back in 1990, that I picked it up again, and today I am an ardent follower of that science. And that science is called the Vastu Shastra. So, with that in mind, I'd like to talk about the human body. First of all, what kind of energy we have? How do we have that energy? The energy in the environment around us, and how is that energy created, and how does that energy work within enclosed spaces, and what are the good energies and what are the bad energies, and what are the prerequisites for those kinds of energies to come about and exist. So this is kind of, I do not want to sound preachy, but fortunately you might say there are certain preconditions to practice the design, and I would go over it point by point so that you will understand. See, folks, the universe exists and existed before us. It is going to exist after us. There are certain electromagnetic frequencies in this universe which are very harmonious in nature, and those harmonies you can find it in all celestial bodies, around it, in all of space, in all of things on this earth, including our bodies. These kinds of energies are derived from the sun, and from there I will elaborate further. But suffice to say that within this field of electromagnetic of the universe, we have our own small little field of electromagnetism around us, maybe 3 to 5 feet around us. And this is one bubble within which we dwell. And like a famous architect from India once said, Charles Correa, I think, said, what is architecture? The architecture is, it is a space. It's an electromagnetic field to wade through, just like you swim through water. So, this human body has got this kind of an energy in it, an aura. This aura is dependent upon something called integrity and honesty. Integrity means, please understand, I will go slower. The electromagnetic field around our bodies depends upon honesty and integrity. Integrity and honesty means that you do not go against the rules of the universe and of nature. If you dam a river, there are consequences to it, and so on and so forth. So if you interfere with the normal procedures and normal functioning of the universe, or in other words, the normal electromagnetic field, if you break it, then you have problems. So you have to be in consonance, resonance of the universal electromagnetic frequencies. You can call it aura, you can call it, the magnetism, or whatever the field around it. It's basically 6 inches, 2 feet, 3 feet, 5 feet. This aura is very much dependent upon integrity, and as I said, integrity means being honest to the rules of the universe, which is that you have to follow the rules. You have to keep the electromagnetic fields, the way it has been sort of dictated by the universe. If you do not go by the natural ways, nature will penalize you in many ways. And as we go further, we shall see. And what we see, for example, through our senses, what we see, nature around us, the things exist, This is the reality that we see through our senses. Trees, bushes, shrubs, everything. Everything in this universe has got an electromagnetic field. We have got an electromagnetic field around us. Every part of our body, eyes, nose, liver, kidneys, they have their own toroidal magnetic fields, and they have no conflict among themselves. They are in very much of an harmony with each other, and they function all together, and together they put in all of that energy to create this electromagnetic field around us. You can see that through aura meters, I suppose. I don't have one, but I have seen these things on the net, that you can see human aura, everything, anything is an aura, animals, plants, trees, and so on and so forth. Now with this kind of a basis, then honesty means that you are basically keeping this aura intact. You are basically protecting the electromagnetic field. By maintaining that electromagnetic field intact and in harmony, you are being honest and have integrity. Integrity means this: obeying the laws of the universe is integrity. So, and let me just have a quick little check here. And we look at the universe through our senses. That's the reality, no? We see real things and we perceive real things. And of course, apart from what we see, there are again parallel 5 senses which are called the astral senses. Astral senses, I will go into detail later, which is the 6th sense, 7th sense, 8th sense. They are parallel: sense of smell, hearing and sight and so on. They go parallel, but you can't see them, you see. It falls in occult sciences, and I know these things because I do a little bit of a dowsing, and dowsing very much depends upon certain unknown things and things that you can't see. For example, electromagnetic frequency, vibrations or waves you can't see, and so on and so forth. So now your job is to keep this electromagnetic field intact. If you keep it intact, you are free from disease, you are free from problems, you are free from somebody's curse, you are free from toxic food. In India it works to the extent, I know many places here in the villages, a snake bite, a cobra bite, is cured just through mantra or some dua or a prayer, and he's kept awake all night, and he over a period of time survives, and he recovers from that snake bite. And as you know, we have talked about these things, about the prayer having the capacity to alter the molecular structure of water. We'll come to that later again, but for now, the prerequisites to maintain this aura is your abiding by universal rules, which are your honesty and integrity. I hope I have made this very clear. You are not doing anybody a favor by being honest. You are only trying to protect your own magnetic field around you. Did you understand that? Now, what causes this magnetic field to rupture, to crumble, to get destroyed, is anything that goes against the universal rules. Any bad deed you do, you cheat a person, you create a gaping hole in this electromagnetic field. The cells in the body, they are not in harmony anymore. You will suffer from guilt, and above all, you leave that gaping hole for make yourself vulnerable, where anybody can attack you from there, be it a bullet, be it an electromagnetic wave, be it a curse, be it germs and viruses, it could be anything. So you, every time you go step out of the way, you lie, you cheat, you do all sorts of bad things, then you are constantly destroying this electromagnetic field around you, which is your defense mechanism, and without which you are prone to disease, you are prone to contagion, you are prone to every problem that you can think of. You will have that problem. And if you do not destroy it and keep it intact, no evil, I repeat, can ever penetrate that electromagnetic field. This natural law is what religion says. You see, if they are asking you to recite a prayer, that prayer contains sounds and vibrations that restore your individual magnetic fields for certain ailments, for certain problems, or in general. And if at all it is restored already, it keeps strengthening your electromagnetic field constantly. The more honest you are, the field increases and increases. You must have seen important personalities these days, gods, saints, and all sorts of, spiritual people. You see, they are always shown with a white aura around them, huge aura around them. So this aura is actually real. They are drawing it now, but actually it exists for piety. And as you become pious, you become a saint. You have a big aura, and that aura you really can feel when you go to, say, for example, to people who have been extremely pious. If you go to their graves, if you go, say, to Karbala, and sit at the grave site or his tomb in that vicinity, I am sure the electromagnetic frequencies go beyond the boundaries of his mausoleum. If the pyramids have that, they also have it. So it is not just simply a matter of believing, it does exist. This kind of an aura exists. I know that Mr. B.S.K. Iyengar, the famous yogic master who recently passed away, may his soul rest in peace. Krishnamachari was his brother-in-law, who was a big time yogi, an honest yogi, and not just yogi in the sense it encompasses everything, Ayurveda, all the sciences. And he lived happily to the age of 105, and I look up to him, and they say that when they go to the Krishnamacharya Yoga Mandir in Chennai, even if you sit outside his compound wall, you can feel the energy and you can feel the positive vibrations, even though he is not there anymore. So these things do work. Now, this space, now let's talk about space. This is about human body. What destroys it, please remember, is bad things. So if you want to be healthy, be honest. If you want to not to be damaged, be honest. If you want to be mentally at peace, be honest. So honesty is a universal necessity, and poor religion in the sense that they have to coax us into saying a prayer which is good for ourselves. You see, now talking about prayers, let me just quote Dr. Manly P. Hall, whom I read and I believe his works, a man of great talent and great understanding in this century. He says, the intention of prayer is to lead you away from common gratifications and desires. Okay. Prayer is having a mystic relationship with life, which is, let it be beautiful, let it always be good. This is point number one. The second thing in this goodness is, simply being good is not enough. There is a small corollary to it, and that is that ask nothing of the other person except to bless him. ask nothing of the other person except to bless him. See, so bless them to be themselves. Okay. So, and then reality is a higher octave of truth. So now we have understood this much, that we do generate some electromagnetic frequencies, and there is an aura around us, and that's a defensive mechanism for ourselves. And honesty is the precondition for being healthy and whatnot. So going beyond that, for example, nutrition to the body. And he goes about saying, Dr. Manly P. Hall, again I quote, nutrition is the study of the magnetic fields of various food products, where, you know, if you indulge in adulteration, they basically destroy the electromagnetic field of that food product, and then it becomes toxic and poisonous. And our endeavor should be that we should never disturb this tranquility, that electromagnetic field around us. Do not distract, do not destroy it in any way you can. And what are the things that can destroy it? Of course, you have cheating, being bad, okay, corruption, and, you know, all sorts of other things, like, you know, you could be thinking bad about people, hating people, and so on and so forth. And allow me, please, body, develop attitudes, you know, integrity in the fields and of study, and so on and so forth. So finally we can reach the conclusion that we do get affected by electromagnetic frequencies in the universe. For example, you have so much of broadcast thing going on in this world. Very bad music, very bad vibrational music tuned to some very horrible frequencies. You have radios, televisions, you have all sorts of, you know, electromagnetic programs, you know, just like HARP, and, you know, you have chemtrails, and people are messing around with the electromagnetic field of the earth, and so on and so forth. You see, I can assure you that all of this that is happening around you, all this negative, through pollution, through this, various reasons, the bad vibrations that are around you cannot affect you as long as you keep your electromagnetic field intact, and again, the basis for which is honesty. Now, when you come down to trying to design spaces for people, then you must know the person, the vibrational frequencies, and then you must know the site, the place, and try to integrate both into a wholesome pattern or form, so that he can live healthy, wealthy, and wise for years to come. As I have spoken earlier, the primary goal of design is to create an environment for the health and his prosperity for now and forever. So when we talk of these things, then we get into the area of energy, and within us we can talk of chakras. You see, these energies are stored in body cells. These body cells have the mind of their own. They do various functions. They are charged by the salt we consume, these cells. If we create bad vibrations, they just get, like, you know, you're scolding somebody, and if you are in a happy mood, they start jumping and they start dancing. So you see, there are various things that can destroy this magnetic field, and that is your temperament, the way you behave, the way you are, how you think. These things can really disturb the electromagnetic field, apart from you know, other reasons that I mentioned earlier. So Going further than that, finally, this is the reason why these energies can be directed in very positive ways or can be directed in negative ways. There are definite patterns and forms associated with definite vibrational frequencies. For example, a square will have the total sum of these four angles will be the vibrational frequency within a square, which is 90 into 4 is 360. For a pentagon, it is 5-sided. The total number of angles add up to 540. So therefore, you will have the frequency there is 540. And again, these vibrational frequencies go to different forms, to decagon, number of angles. For the pyramids, the angle of the slope is the vibrational frequency inside a pyramid. The king's chamber, calling it a tomb is not really it's laughable, but it's tuned to the A chord. The king's chamber there is tuned to the A chord, if you understand music and all that. And the sound of the universe, the sound of Om, reverberates through the universe. Om is Auma, Amin, Amen, and so on. Now, coming down to the person, how would you know his vibrational frequencies? We do not have the time to indulge into all of the minor sciences that go into things, but you have to know his time of birth, place of birth, and date of birth. This whole write-up is on my site under the topic of design. Please check it out. It is there in the categories section. It is there under the category of design. Now, once you get these three things, date of birth, place of birth, and time of birth, an astrologer can very easily reveal the formation of the planetary positions during his birth time. And if he can provide the information to the second, he can do that. So, he will tell you his vibrational frequency, his aversion to things. He will tell you his character. He will tell you what suits him, what building material suits him, what stone suits him, what gemstone suits him, what wood, what metal, what greenery, what landscape, okay, and whether he is, humans are divided in Ayurveda. The humans are divided into three different categories: the Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. Okay, detailed descriptions you can go directly and find out. But these three categories, he can tell you what category he fits. Is he a short-tempered fellow? Is he a jovial fellow? Or is he a person with a very hot mentality, very very angry person, and so on. So why do you need this information? To know the client, what is compatible with him. It is maybe not gold, just copper. It could be some wood, not this wood, maybe these trees and these plants and not those plants, and so on and so forth. And these are not just something out of the blue. There is thousands and thousands of years of research before they have done it, and it has come to us now. And people are also beginning to realize the importance of these kinds of traditional sciences and the knowledge about the unseen. There are certain things that you can't see. You can't see a blessing, you can't see a prayer traveling through any medium and it's faster than the speed of light. You can't see that. So hence, you have to know the person this way, and his preferences and all other details. This you must have it. And then he will also talk about his chakras, his frequencies, what are his weaknesses, which chakra of the 7 is weak or smaller or what not. This information you can get it on the website, but the interpretation of that information is very difficult. So please, perhaps you might need to go to a very experienced astrologer, and then he will tell you all these details. Once this is done, you have to come to the site. Now, let me quickly zoom through a couple of points so that You know what I'm saying. Now, sound affects water, sound creates vibrations, and so on. So now we have the sun. From the sun we derive energy, and from energy we have a thought, and once there is a thought, there is an intention. Intention is that consciousness, some call it intention. You decide to do certain thing, good, bad, what not, your karma. So, and then intention, consciousness, and all of that activity in you is generating frequencies, vibrations. Electricity is traveling from place to place, cell to cell. So those kinds of things generate the vibrations and frequencies. Frequencies create resonance, and resonance creates patterns and forms. Pattern and forms. You can see the pattern behind me right there. You see? Look at it. Is it not making you think and stare at it? I have some patterns here to show you. These are from abstractions from the Taj Mahal that I did many years ago for demonstration for my students. These are Taj Mahal jalis, the grills, and I have abstracted it to my liking, but the basic proportion is theirs. And as you can see, they are not bad to look at, they're all right. Similarly, the same jali, I have it in different color and black and white and so on and so forth. You can see that. Okay. So, finally, what you think, what comes out of your mind, followed what comes out of your heart, it becomes pattern and form. 3D. This is 2D what I showed you. And it becomes form. Okay. Now, from form, then you want a form with very harmonious frequencies. So that is where the idea of proportion come into the picture. What proportions are harmonious and what proportions are not harmonious. So again you are into the whole line of design activity, which is proportions, and which are the harmonious proportions. And these proportions, as you know, they are common to all of these arts. The proportions same in music, dance, in theatre, in painting, sculpture, architecture, design, accessory design, fashion design, whatever you want to call it. You see, these rules are the same. The 7 colors, in the rainbow is equal to the 7 colors, or sorry, the notes, sa re ga ma pa da ni sa, or what is that in English? A S D F G F, no. E F G A B C, and so on and so forth. So these colors and these musical notes, okay, vibrations, frequencies, harmony, it's common because it is universal. Anywhere you go, I have shown you some pictures of stars. Go to my website and check it out. Actual stars, not what NASA shows you. Actual stars are basically gaseous and very liquidy in form, and with the vibrations of the universe around them, they are always shining like stars in a very, very flowery, beautiful patterns. Get into the science of biofluorescence, and get into the science of cymatics, running a particular frequency through a medium like water or sand, and you can see the patterns they form, and from there you can see which are the harmonious patterns, which are not harmonious patterns. This is nothing out of the blue, and we have found. And when you reduce all of those harmonies, you see, it comes to number 9. So this is how you must get into the field of numerology and numbers. The numbers 3, 6, 9. Look at Tesla, look at any Indian ancient numerology, the Arabic numerology that I have it in my website, and so on and so forth. So numerology also comes into picture because these forms and these patterns again convert them into proportion. And once you come into proportion, these are numbers again. What proportion? 1 is to 3 is to 5, 3 is to 7 is to 13. Again numbers. So we are talking about which are the harmonious numbers. So 3, 6, 9. Again 9 how? 432 hertz is the harmonious frequency of chord A, divided by 2, 216. 216 is, the, I'm forgetting, 216 is something. Again 108, half of that will be the malas that we jap, okay, and 840 again double of it is a very harmonious frequency. It conforms to our yugas also. Yugas are, the Kali Yuga is 4,32,000 years of duration, and then the Dhruva Yuga, which is the one previous to this, is 8,64,000, and you can see these numbers of 3, 6, 9, 7, 19, and yes, these numbers, they are repeated throughout the universe, and from there on we are talking about the golden ratios, okay, volutes, we are talking about Vesica Pisces, how you can create different, the platonic solids through Vesica Pisces. These are the things you must do a little bit of study. And then also, after going through an exercise in proportion, when you say proportion, it is numbers. Numbers means again geometry. So you have to get into some geometry and work with your shapes and patterns and see which pattern, makes you feel good, makes you feel bad, what are the harmonious patterns, and so on and so forth. So you will get a complete picture of what size of a room you can create to, for example, cool down a very angry and a hot person, he's very, very angry young man. So give him frequencies that will calm him down. His bedroom should be built based on those frequencies. And again, especially for interior people, you should be looking at all these devices, the switches and the fans and all of these appliances that are producing this bad energy in these houses, bad frequencies, and they constantly are messing microwaves and so on and so forth. This should be your focus, and how to create proper frequencies. You interior designers, architects, you guys are paid to create good, livable frequencies. But as it is going on, you just creating frequencies that make people sick. That is all that is happening there. Now let's go beyond, and then you have to involve yourself in Vastu Shastra. The rules of Vastu, check them out, because they might not give you the reason, but they'll tell you this is a Shubha proportion, this is a Guru proportion, this is a bad proportion, and the a room cannot be twice its breadth and so on and so forth. The height of the door should be 2/3 of the room height. So many basic rules that if you look deeper into that, there is a lot of meaning behind it for a healthy, wealthy, prosperous and a secure life within that house. Now, then after Vastu, apply the rules of design. We have design principles, design elements. Design principles are focus, sub-focus, scale, proportion, balance, movement, direction, hierarchy, all of those things. The elements are the tools of design: line, shape, form, color, texture. And then there are certain other things that are sort of not esoteric, but a building has to look like what it is built for, You have to build a courthouse or a secretariat. It should look like a courthouse, a secretariat, a police station, a hospital, or a college, university, apartment complex. I mean, colleges should not look like apartment complexes, for example. So this is called, buildings should have a character of their own. Then there is interiors also, exteriors also. What kind of an ambiance that you create, the environment that you create, ambiance. So character, ambiance, repose. Repose is, you can go a little bit beyond it and, give it an attitude, ada. जिसको बोलते हैं repose, so to speak. So after going through all of this, proportion is not going to leave you alone. Along with proportions, you have to go through the process of abstraction, generate alternatives, and then arrive at a proper design. So as you can see, I'd like to stop preaching design because there's lots of this material is right in my website. But from your thought and intention to creating vibrations and creating spaces. You can see the relationship now, and you can see that a haphazardly or thoughtless spaces that we create, it does harm, more harm than it does good at all. So therefore, in your designs, please consider this part, and that is what you are being paid for, to design. You don't follow any of these rules, and you call yourself a designer and you take your fees and give them a bad space. No, that is not being honest, you see. You have to give them what they deserve. Even if they don't know, you have to inform them, you have to educate them and give them the service they deserve. Now, finally, in my next video, I will talk about the evolution of form and pattern. And till then, thank you.